What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to the Three Amigos YouTube channel. This is actually, now that we're a few months in, this is actually the first video we've done with all three of us actually on camera.
The Three Amigos?
We got some shirts. We're kind of official now, kind of a big deal.
Show them the back, Bobby.
Yeah, I'll show them the back.
Show them the back.
I came up with this.
Ride, tacos, repeat.
Because that's what we do. We love Mexican food. If you're not riding to go far, we're riding to get Mexican. So a little introduction. I'm Devin. This is my good friend Bobby. Known him since I was 12. This guy we found on the street, Graham.
Just showed up one day.
I think we still know Graham for probably 7 years at this point.
Yeah.
Also clarifying, the other thing is Graham is also Tony and Tiny, so don't be confused. He has a lot of nicknames.
I got a lot of nicknames.
I've been scolded because I've called him different names before and people don't know what the hell I'm talking about, which is not.
Fun fact, this guy used to hate motorcycles.
Yep.
Now
I actually T-boned somebody on a motorcycle.
Don't say that.
Put that
They cut in front of me.
No.
Oh.
No, statute of limitations might not be up about that.
Listen, we won't talk about that, but
good time.
So, Harley just launched the 2021 Sportster S today.
Right.
What's your first impression?
It is not what I thought it was. I guess I didn't follow it super closely. I was still hung on to the original leak photos of it being like a Street Fighter or something a little taller looking.
Like an FTR kind of taller, yeah. More upright.
I was thinking of like, naked street bike. Or I was along the lines of it was going to be the next V-Rod. Didn't think it was going to be another Sportster.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like a mix between a Sportster and a V-Rod. Kind of mixed in between because it has like the raw power of a V-Rod, but kind of the looks and styling and the Sportster.
Should definitely handle better than a V-Rod. I've only ridden a V-Rod a handful of times, but they like to go straight and straight only.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of people say that the V-Rod was the best motor Harley never made.
Right.
So this is all their own design this time around.
Right. But all three of us have ridden the Pan America with the same engine, but I think it's tuned up a little bit more. And the engine is incredible.
Yeah.
Smooth, torquey, it screams.
Yeah, right at like 7 it really lights. I think there's a clip somewhere.
It's angry.
All of us doing power wheelies on demo rides in Laconia.
Holy frick! Oh yeah.
We all left one, I know.
Mexico,
yeah.
Doing wheelies in Mexico.
Wheelies in Mexico on the Pan America. Honestly, for last year, I was saying like next bike on the dream list was an Africa Twin, which I still have yet to ride. But now I feel like if I bought an Africa Twin, I'd be missing the extra 50 horsepower that was the Revolution. Is that what we call the Max Revolution makes?
Revolution Max, yeah. I think it was 150 on the Pan America, and the Sportster S is 121.
121, I think 94 or 91 foot-pounds of torque, which in a smaller frame is pretty good. 500 pounds for a weight, which is
so
comparable to anything else. I mean, it's not super light. I mean, I don't think we're not talking street bike numbers.
No. What are your initial thoughts, Bobby?
I would consider it killing two birds with one stone.
I feel both markets.
I feel like Harley lost out on a very weird market of, I wouldn't even call it a performance bike, because they had the V-Rod for years, which did well, but it was a very niche market.
Right.
Because it was a performance bike, but it was a performance in a straight line. It was a drag muscle bike. And then they tried to revive it with the FXDR.
That was the one with that big funky air filter.
Yeah, and
that was a big flop. They pulled that.
It flopped.
Yeah, I didn't
discontinue it because it was unique in the styling and it had a 114 in it. Now, I don't know about you two, but if you get on a 114, you don't think,
oh wow, this is a 114.
You don't think this is a rocket.
No, but it does go good in the small, in the steel frames.
It does, but
it's pretty torquey.
Here can deny that it does not go as good as a Pan America.
Oh, no.
No, Pan America's
When you rev
is a
that thing at
different
6,000 RPM,
Yeah.
You're talking a little bit apples to oranges though, because being liquid cooled, yeah, it's got
right,
entirely
and I
different
think
RPM
that's
range.
what killed the FXDR was it was a straight line performance drag muscle bike without the muscle.
Right.
It was a 114 and it was quick because it was a small bike, but it didn't have that throw you off the back insane power that the V-Rod, even the V-Rod felt faster.
Oh,
off
the V-Rods are nuts.
So they needed to do something to break back into that market. But the reason I say kill two birds with one stone is because at the same time, the Sportster line is aged out, and they did the Softails in 2018. They redid that entire line. They had just come off the Rushmore renovation and the Milwaukee 8 renovation of the touring line.
Right.
The only thing left for them to do, besides go back and start revisiting the touring, which I think they need to do anyway.
Yes.
They already do, especially because we all just bought them, so they'll probably do the baggers now.
Yeah, and
Our luck.
they needed to do something to the Sportster. The Sportster was still running.
It's the Evo
It
motor.
was still running an Evo blueprint. Don't get me wrong, it's a great, people love them. But
It's great, and the Sportster is an established name, so I like that they took that name and kind of mixed it into the Sportster into a newer platform.
What do you think it'll ever actually make the Evo, push rod Sportster obsolete?
yeah, eventually, not this year, not maybe
Probably,
next year.
probably because of the EPA cracks down on everything with emissions and all that stuff.
I think everybody would like the tech that it has. I saw that it has whatever 4 or 5 inch, 4-inch digital gauge, which they totally got the idea from Indian, but that's okay.
The new Chief that we rode in Laconia, the 2021.
So that has the ability to, I don't know if it's a full GPS, but it has the ability to run off, I don't know.
Says
No, it doesn't have the ability to do GPS, but it has the ability to Bluetooth to your phone. So if your phone's running GPS, but you don't have a phone mount on your handlebars, or
it
even
says
if you do,
it says it has
No.
turn-by-turn navigation with the Harley Davidson app.
we're talking the Indian.
Oh, the Indian.
The Indian.
Oh, I thought you were
That's
talking
what
about
we're
the news.
So
right?
both of them comparing them.
Right.
But the way the Indian does it is the Bluetooth is just based off your phone, and it'll read it back to you compare your Cena device or any other
Oh, okay.
headset. So the bike will be the communicator, even though I don't think that that's generally necessary on either the Harley or the Indian, because the phones do it already.
Right.
I have
And
a
what's-
2017, and if my phone's paired to my Cena, it's playing the audio from the phone right to the Cena. So
Right, which is nice.
it's nice that they do that, but that gauge, like you said, is definitely copied right off of the Indian, because
Right, even the Indian has the round gauge, digital, full digital.
They ever do, because everyone says Indian copied the
Right.
Rogue Glide with the
They're kind of adding a little modern day technology into a Sportster. It's kind of got the same kind of look. It's a little more retro with the water cooled engine and the pipes and the gauge.
The light reminds me of the Fat Boy headlight, the
Yeah,
rectangular
but
LED.
it's kind of
Fat
got
Bob.
a little bit of
Fat Bob.
classic Harley lines in it, which everybody's known forever. The Sportster. It says it does. You can have turn-by-turn navigation linked up with your cell phone, so it's not full standalone nav like a bagger, but you can still use your cell phone, so you don't have to look at your phone. You can keep your phone paired in your pocket and not have to have a phone mount, which is kind of convenient. A little technology into it.
I want to loop back real quick before we get too far away from it. I've always said, Harley definitely borrowed this idea from Indian, and vice versa. They've always done it. But people get so mad when they see, people manufacturers stealing ideas. But competition is good for the consumer, because if you think about Harley pre-2014, when Victory was only giving a little run for their money, and Indian wasn't really back around fully yet, Harley pre-14 did nothing. The bikes just went 96Q, 103. There was no updates. But now that there's some competition, the new CEO and Harley, it makes the product get better and better faster.
Mm-hmm.
So the competition is good. So you can't hate on Indian for doing one to the other, to Harley, and vice versa. Competition is good for the consumer.
No, I mean, Indians, they've had their things. They've been around a long time. They started in basically the same place as Harley. They weren't around as long. They've had their ups and downs and had a business for a bunch of years and bought out and bought out. So has Harley, but Harley's been the bigger name to take off.
yeah, and Harley definitely. If anyone's seen that show, Harley and the Davidsons, or knows the Harley Davidson
That was a
history,
good
Great show.
you know that Harley thrived on that, that community that they built of Harley owners and hog after the racing team and all that.
Yeah,
And
it's just heritage.
It's exactly, and they were able to survive, even though it looked, at some points in their history, it looked grim for them. Especially, you know, the whole AMF era. They sold the bike
Bowling balls.
Yeah, they sold the bike with a bottle of Loctite with it, but they're definitely coming around. I think that the CEO change has been great. He's already doing stuff. Yes, this bike may have a very niche market.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Only time will tell. I think that right now the definite trend in motorcycles are baggers will always be in, regardless of what style.
Because that's the best way to tour.
Touring bikes will always be in.
Yeah.
So their focus will always be heavy on that. But then, you know, Dynas are still in. They're just as popular as they were before the Softail replaced them. That market's huge. People love that. But this is a very niche. It's a performance bike. We obviously haven't ridden one since they were announced today.
Because
But it's got a handle. It's got a handle.
If both are available, if you're a new rider, you're probably not going to spend the price difference to go for the liquid cooled motor. Because if you're just learning how to ride, you might be timid for the S or the regular Sportster.
Right, and what's the price difference?
It's about $4 grand.
It's 11.5
In verse 15.
starting for a 2021 48 Sportster.
And it's 15 starting.
It's 15, so
Almost $5 grand. So you got to be. If you're really thinking performance, you're going to spend that $5 grand difference, or you're going to go on a metric bike that's going to blow it out of the water. Period. It'd be interesting to see how it does.
Right.
I don't think it's overpriced. Obviously, it would always do better if it could go for a little less. It's like the Livewire. When that bike came out for 30 grand in like 120 mile range, if they could have made that bike for like 13 grand, I think they would have sold the hell out of them in cities, but they
just
overpriced
redid
it. Did they?
When they announced the brand separation, now it's 20.
They need to- they need to get
That's
It's
at least
better, but
better.
it's not. I don't think it's.
That's like the Victory one was 20, and then when they went out of business, they were 10.
I will give Harley credit for the Pan America. I was worried that was going to be the same thing, where it was going to be 30 grand and only like 100 horsepower, and people would be buying the BMW and the KTM's and the other bikes tenfold over. But they hit the horsepower and the price just right, so that's an important factor.
And the suspension and features aren't bad either.
Correct.
Comes with heated grips and adjustable
It's
seat and all
comfortable.
that.
I don't think this comes with heated grips.
Now,
No,
But
but it does say it has RDRS, the traction control. and
They
ABS
definitely,
system.
and that's the thing. You know, they're doing what they did with the touring bikes, where they have the regular version and the special. Even though the special in this case is a totally different bike.
Yeah.
You know, different chassis, different motor, different power plant. It's still a Sportster, but they definitely are giving you more for the money, for that extra money. I'm looking at it comes LED all the way around. Sportster still.
all Harleys would do it. I mean, it drives me nuts on my $30,000 bag ride to buy all LEDs.
They have to make their profit in the parts and accessories department, but
Right.
this bike looks like it comes with all LEDs all the way around. They're in compliance with that weird taillight on the back tire, but you can already see that that's unboltable.
Right.
You know, they're gonna sell a tail kit that puts your brake light up there,
Yeah.
and you're
just
gonna
like
have to,
FTR.
yeah, just like the FTR, everyone's gonna take that bar off. You know, give it a little bit better look from the back. Pipes, they put them in a good spot. There's a lot of aftermarket companies that can do a lot with that location already. I'm just thinking,
Can't wait to hear what that's gonna sound like.
yeah, once they, somebody, Vance and Hines, Reinhardt, even you, I bet you this motor and this chassis, you're gonna see sport bike exhaust manufacturers start making pipes for this.
2-in-1.
Probably, yeah.
2-in-1 or.
Yeah, we've heard that motor in the Pan America, and it just has a muffled V-twin sound. We've yet to hear one with an exhaust on it, so I'd be curious, because sound is important. If it sounds like crap, it's gonna hurt. Not
Right.
hurt it, but it's gotta sound good. It's a big factor.
Yeah, and it's got a handle. That's what killed the V-Rod and the FXDR. You know, there was a small niche group that wants to go fast in a straight line, leaving the bar.
And
But-
want to be able to go around the corner.
But you got to be able to go around a corner, and those bikes with the huge wide tire at one point were styled, in trend. But this bike, and you know what? Looking at it, yeah, the tires are. It's a very thick
That's what I
tire
was gonna
on
ask. What
this.
do you guys think
But they're
about
thick front and rear also,
Right.
so they're kind of balanced.
Right. It's probably gonna handle. Those pegs look a little low. They're definitely forward controls, which makes you feel like you're gonna sit on a V-Rod or an FXDR.
Yeah,
I
it
thought-
says it's a stretched out position.
I thought I saw one of the riding photos already though, with the guy who looked like he was totally sitting on mids already.
They already offer them. If
So
you,
that's
if you,
Harley
They do
They
offer a
already
bunch of
offer
parts
that,
and
yeah.
accessories already, which is nice right out of the gate. The bike's not even out yet, and they already offer stuff for it.
What, do you guys know when is gonna hit the showroom floor date? You,
no, I didn't.
I
didn't
don't-
see that.
I don't know what that is, but one more thing about the handling before we get away from that is, it is a completely redesigned chassis. Like the engine is part of the chassis, and it looks like they went to it's a soft tail kind of monotube shock, right? It doesn't have the classic two shocks like all
Correct.
Sportsters get.
right, which everybody
And
was
it looks like it has an inverted front end,
right.
which is really good. That's what a lot of sport bikes have, and it handles really well.
Probably borrowed from the Fat Bob and stuff, but it's
Yeah, the Fat Bob and the other, the Lowrider S have the inverted front end, and they handle great.
everyone was all upset when the dyno went away with the twin shock because you can't show off your fancy shocks, but then people started riding them, and I know from riding a Victory steel frame that the mono shock actually just handles better. So
It does. I also think that maybe they shouldn't have went so drastic so fast and kept the soft tail lineup and continued a little bit with the dyno lineup. You know, keep both, give people more of a choice.
Like a dyno chassis with a
'Cause
Milwaukee 8 in it.
Yeah, the dyno chassis with a Milwaukee 8.
everyone just wants the FXR back.
And people kind of have a choice. If they go soft, have a couple soft tails and a couple dyno models with the same engine, and see what happened, and at least give it a try. And if it didn't take off or not still work, they could still go in one direction or another. I mean, they still can, but it would cost a lot of money to redesign everything.
What do you guys think it closest compares to? Because my initial thoughts was FTR, but then like we were talking a little earlier before we were filming, FTR is more flat track. It's more of what I thought it was going to be, like like a Street Fighter style bike. So now I think it shares closer to the Scout.
Yeah, it looks like the Scout lineup for Indian. They have two different size engines, right?
60 and 66.
60 and 66
Which are both good power
cubic
plants.
inch, and one's like 80 and one's like 100 horsepower,
Right,
something like that.
around there.
I'm not exactly right, but so this new Sportster S has 21 more horsepower on the Indian, which more speed, more power,
More power.
baby. More power is always a good thing. I've never heard anybody complain about not enough power.
Or not too much power. You can complain about not enough. You never
Too
complain about
much, not enough. You know what I mean?
Same thing.
Same thing. Both same style suspension. They both have the same digital gauge that we talked about. Aesthetically, I like the look of the Harley better. I like the lines. It looks a little cleaner to me, a little more classic.
I like the look too. I actually like the bronze, like even on the white or the black with the bronze, or
Well, that's in right now.
it is.
Harley's been in the last few years releasing bronze.
I'll be
add-ons.
honest, and this is me.
Right.
It doesn't look comfortable.
No.
I mean, it's got this little bobber seat on it. It's more, look like you're very on top of it. I don't know if it'd be a bike you put taller bars on, or just leave the low drag bars and kind of.
It says it's a stretched out riding position with forward controls.
Yeah, that's interesting to me.
It says an aggressive riding and sport bike agility and handling, which is
That's not the right riding position for aggressive riding.
Right.
no, but that's what it says right
Yeah,
there.
Your arms forward and your feet forward are not. You want your feet below you for an aggressive riding feel. That's why people put mids on their dynos. And,
Right.
Yeah,
I think it'd be
you want your
probably,
bars close to you, and
probably be a different bike with mid controls.
I can't wait to ride it.
Yeah, I'm
At
sure.
least try it out.
I'm sure our favorite hometown dealership, Old School Harley Davidson, when they get one, we'll do a follow-up video and we'll all take a ride on it as soon as we can.
They'll try to make us buy one.
I have no interest in buying one, but I'll certainly talk about it.
It's not a bad price though. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that would get more people into riding who maybe don't like the old classic air cooled and still want to get into a relatively affordable
And some
bike with
The other thing
good
makes-
features and good power.
too, some people may prefer. Some people don't want to shake at a stoplight, and they don't want that.
Yeah, that's another
opposed to
thing.
V-twin and classic Harleys. It's what gives it the sound and everything. But some people shaking at a stoplight and all your parts and everything coming loose and rattle off does nothing for them. So the smoother, liquid cooled, higher revving motor might actually be a preference for some.
but going back to if that's what people don't want, who do you think wants that? Because there's a stigma with Sportsters. Sportsters are entry level. Sportsters are,
For women and the
Yeah.
vertically challenged.
yeah, exactly.
Right,
So,
this
so
kind of,
who's going to go in there and say, let me pay $5,000 over sticker on a sport or over a standard Sportster because it's faster? I feel like you're at that price. Unless you're specifically looking for a cruiser chassis with outright speed of the Pan America, you're not going to look at that bike because at 15 you're already in the price of almost any of the Softails.
that's true.
So if you're not looking for the speed, you're probably not going to go with the Sportster S. So only time will tell if this actually is one of those bikes that survives. You know, when the FXDR came out, I keep going back to that because I think that's what this is replacing.
Just a little more affordable.
Just a little more
Definitely way
affordable.
more
It's
performance.
way more performance. It's way more affordable. But what market is actually looking for that?
True.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for a Harley, and you know you want a Harley, you're already in the middle of the Softail line for price. Because you know if you're looking for a cruiser and the performance isn't a top feature for you,
Mm-hmm.
you're already $2,000 over the Softail standard.
Right.
And that's a cruiser bike that's probably a little bit more comfortable. And then if you're gonna go for speed, you know you want that speed because of the motor. You're also gonna have the people that shy away from that because it's a Sportster. You know, people associate that name with entry level.
Right.
So that's just my thought.
Time will tell. I mean,
Yeah.
there are people that like smaller, compact bikes. I know that. So I'd also be curious to see on another tangent that if they keep running with this motor, if they take it, I don't know if they would take it with. So they obviously tuned it differently than the Pan America, but they did something with in between these two and put it in a bagger. You'd have a clone of Challenger, not a clone of it, but you'd have a liquid cooled higher horsepower bagger. They started doing things like an inverted front end and some.
Right. Some of that
Probably
technology
what
into a bagger. Now I feel like this motor might be a little small for the bagger, displacement wise, because I think it'd be working a lot harder.
1250, true.
Because the Challenger has 108
Certainly makes the right power.
cubic inch. That's a big water cooled engine.
Yeah,
These are only 1200s. That's
108's over 7.
that's like 1800
close to
cc.
1800, yeah.
So it's another 500. But
I'd just be
who
curious.
knows what they have up their sleeve?
It'd be interesting to see how long they run with this power plant.
Oh, I'd put money on that this power plant or some variant of this power plant is coming in a bagger.
Yeah, maybe they just punch it out in a bigger displacement.
Because
Get a little
yes,
more torque out of
you
it.
said the CCs are wrong. You know, the size wise, it is a 1200. Was it 1250?
12,
Yeah,
50,
1250.
1240 something.
But 90 horse to the is that the crank?
What?
The 90 horse that they rated out 91 horsepower and
No, it's 120 horsepower, 92 torque.
Oh, okay.
Which
So
where I think the 114 is like
yeah.
119 foot-pounds of torque or something at the crane.
94.
Which is only 25.
121.
okay, so that might be a little small in the bagger, so they might have to do a variation.
Because you
of
need
it. Or
that
maybe-
torque to move the heavy
Or maybe
weights.
they'll do the classic where they make that motor in a larger blueprint.
Maybe like in a soft tail.
Oh yeah, so I was thinking make the motor physically bigger. Like,
Oh, yeah. Just
you know,
punch it out.
It's a what do they call it? An evolution or a revolution?
Just take the same blueprint and juice it up by 30%.
Juice it exactly.
Make it bigger.
Make it bigger in every dimension.
Yeah, beef it up a little bit.
and then stuff it in a bagger.
I mean, that'd be cool. They have to do liquid cooled to
Liquid
get emissions.
Yeah,
It's
liquid
the
cool's
emissions
coming
thing.
across the industry.
Air cooled engines keep cool and lubricate themselves by burning a little bit of oil, and it's not good for emissions. They're really cracking down on fun.
EPA gets everyone eventually.
They're cracking down on all the fun.
EPA ruins a lot of things.
So that's definitely coming, but will it be next year? No, but it'll be in the future.
Yeah.
But if it was in a bagger, in a street glide or a road glide or whatever glide they come out with next,
Yeah.
that'd be a fun bike with the Pan America motor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. 150 horsepower.
The powers are they gotta keep the torque there too to move the bigger weight. But we all love that Pan America. If I could go buy another Harley or probably another bike right now,
if I could, I would.
Which,
It'd be a lot of fun. I've always wanted to do a little bit of adventuring and.
yeah. Problem is, I think if one of us gets one, we all got to get them so we can start riding some dirt roads.
Yeah.
But we'll let that leak. We're gonna try working on a Pan America video next, so we'll get that hopefully soon.
You were kind of doing it backwards.
Well, we've all
ridden
it,
yeah.
but we've all run into camera issues every single time we've ridden one.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's wind noise or
Getting
wrong angle,
getting
or,
the camera wet, or
yeah, soaking your GoPro.
So yeah, as you guys know, we're learning as we go. We've been learning a lot of technique and improving our equipment. You know, I just bought a mic the other day so I can do more motovlog style stuff. Graham bought a mic. So we're learning as we go. We appreciate comments, any criticisms. We're happy to say. Like, we had a video, that suspension video I did, everyone said we can't hear you. So hey, we're working on that. Thanks to our early subscribers that have been here since day one. I know we have a lot of victory following, and we're not going away from that stuff. We're gonna mix it in as much as possible.
got cross country right there that needs to be brought out on some bigger rides. And
But really, a true thank you to
All
the
of them?
subscribers that have been here from day one, the ones that we're not related to that have to subscribe to us. What else? Make sure, so we've been pushing the Facebook and the Instagram really hard, so if you guys want to follow us there, the 2 links are in our banner.
And right there.
Yeah.
where?
Facebook and Instagram. On all our trips, you know, my wife rides me a lot, so she's been pushing posts.
Your backpack?
photos, my backpack to the story. So like, we're headed out to Sturgis in 3 weeks. We're gonna have a lot of great scenery and photography. So follow us there if you want to stay up to date on pictures, because we can get those to you a hell of a lot sooner than videos.
And leave comments down below with your thoughts on the
Yes,
Sportster S, the new Harley.
open-ended forum. We'll get this video up and tell us what you think about it. We let curious to know everybody's thoughts. We try to read everybody's comments, which we do because we're not that popular yet. We don't get that many. Tell us what you
But
guys
we're
think.
trying.
And thanks for watching. See you next time. What's going on, YouTube? 3 amigos here. This is Ash.
What?
Can you not be so sweaty?
It's pretty fucking hot in here, huh?
Not really.
It's not hot at all. 3 weeks of rain every day and everything's flooded. You can't even cut your grass.